All right, welcome back to the Pure Playbook. I'm Dr. Dustin Bosson here with the Dr. Nate Merhaut. Welcome back. Another week off. We have been busy. We have been zooming in here. We're getting ready for back to school. That's what this podcast is going to be about today. We're going to talk about some back to school items. So this is the podcast where we're just giving relevant information for student athletes and their parents trying to keep up. All things health related, injury prevention, literally just solving for the questions of where do we go, who do we trust, how do we prevent in this wonderful world of student athletics. So here we go. I have a sticky note here. We have been polling the crowd in our office, in our practice here, asking parents what do they want us to talk about? What do they want to hear about? What questions do they have? So in the spirit of going back to school, here is one of the sticky notes from one of our parents, and I'm going to cut this one in half. There's some good ones on here. There's 4 of them on here, so I'm going to go with the last 2. Okay. I don't know who this is. I can take a guess, but I don't know who this is. So if this is one of you, let me know. Anything mindset, mentality, inspirational, motivational, and surrounding yourself with people who give a shit. Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kind of take this impromptu and get after it, but that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So we got lots of student athletes in the practice. A lot of them are coming in on their summer breaks, doing a lot of great work. We have a lot of great pre and post results, which are cool to show. We'll be putting some of that stuff out soon. And our schedule is about to flip-flop real quick here. Yeah. So we were seeing a lot of our athletes in the mornings, and now it's going to be after practice, after schools, in the evenings, and that's going to be loaded up. Yeah. So if you are not a student athlete, come in the morning.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, as we get started here, like I said, this is going to be a little more impromptu, but this is something that I think about a lot. This is not something I default. I don't have any greatness default for this one. However, it's something I like talking about because I think this is something, especially in high school. Like, honestly, I'd go back to high school for a couple of different reasons. I mean, I did enjoy it for the most part. I think there's a lot of things I could have done better. I think there is an outlook and mindset that I could have had, not only on the athletic side, like that's the cool side. You know, Friday night lights, or then you go right into basketball, and then we went right into baseball. So it was like all year long playing sports, but the community around school and how to create and curate relationships. And, you know, you're not going to like everybody. Not everybody's going to like you, but how do you circle yourself with the right people? And what mindset should you have going into school? One of the things that it took me till the end of my junior year of high school to realize no matter what it is, it's only as hard as you make it. It could be a test. It could be homework. It could be a teacher. It could be friends. It could be whatever it is. It's literally, you know, you have 2 options when you wake up. It's like, oh, I gotta go to school. And it's like, oh, guess what? That's the reality. So let's flip that a little bit. But that was the one thing that I started to realize is I was one of the ones that was pretty bored in school. So wake up. I never missed any school. Some people might know a little bit of my story, but I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA. And I think they put 2.2 on paper, but it was really, I was bored. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be doing other things. I wanted to be playing ball of some sort, but flipping the mindset of like, that's only going to make it harder for me to show up for what I'm supposed to do, what I'm responsible to do every day. But the attitude, the perception, the aura you give off can be toxic. It could hurt you. It could push other people away, which then creates other issues. But it's like, let's have figure out how to have a positive mentality about school and enjoy showing up, because it goes like that right now. And everybody, I wouldn't say everybody wishes they could go back to high school, but I bet everybody wishes to be young again. Yeah. And that could be that conversation. So enjoy it now, first of all.
Yeah. I would say I've had a couple conversations with some of our athletes and just seeing where their headspace is and getting back into school. And some of them are excited about it. Some of them are, you know, going to be seeing a lot of their friends. And to your extent, your experience, sometimes it's almost finding something that you enjoy about it, because the school setting is not for everybody. And we talked about this with another parent and just the ADHD mindset and that kind of thing. And we can go down that rabbit hole of how, you know, mindset and ADHD and ADD and how those different, we'll just call them personality traits at this point, can impact you as a student as well as how you play as a player. But a little off track of that, another conversation that popped into mind with a student athlete getting back into school was he was dealing with an injury, and I asked him, you know, are you excited? How's it going? And he got into all of his classes, and he realized a lot of his friends weren't necessarily in his classes, and he was involved in the sport he was in because he was able to be with his friends. And unfortunately, because of an injury, that's not the case anymore, where he's not surrounded with his teammates and the friends that he wanted to be around. And now that he's in school again, he's like, yeah, it's not the greatest situation, because I was hoping to be on the team and playing with the guys. And now that my classes, I'm not going to be in the same classes as them either. So you could tell he was a little bit down about it. So that's something that we're going to have to address and make sure that things are going to move in the right direction for him from the mental standpoint. But it goes to show, a lot of our athletes are in the game because, especially in high school, and not, some of them don't need to get to that next level, but they're in the game because it's a social environment that supports them throughout that period of life. And there's a lot of changes that happen in that period of life for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that kind of goes with, a part of this request of, surrounding your people who give a shit. And unfortunately in those scenarios, and this is why we do what we do, it's like injuries happen and you can be taken away from, a sport or, a hobby, you could say even, but taken away from a sport, and it can change who's around you. And so I say that with parents and with student athletes, no matter what injury, you make a decision not to play or you're going to play, be very, very keen on who you do put around you. And if for some reason, all of a sudden you're being treated differently because of a decision you made, it can be hard, but sometimes it's a time to really evaluate, are those the right people in my life, or is there something that I can do better? How do I sustain this relationship based on not having a commonality of sport? But sometimes it's a hard way to learn what a surface level relationship looks like, that just because you wear a jersey you're a part of, and that's just not the case. So as we go into this school year, I just pray that these kids have a mindset of excitement and and honestly discomfort. That because if they have more discomfort, they're probably thinking about a lot of different scenarios that maybe they haven't been through, or that they don't know or how are going to turn out, or they're wanting to attempt or try to do something a little out of their norm, which can be a very good thing. But having the perseverance, the trust, the confidence to do that. And I would say at the beginning of this year, I just want to challenge all of these students to make new friends on your team, and make new friends outside of sport. We all know who those people are. I can go back into my high school. I graduated with I think we graduated with 89 people or something like that, 86, 89 people. But I can go back through and think of almost everybody in high school from junior year. I don't know if you do this, but I still think of, oh yeah, they were a senior when I was a freshman. It's like, that's the benchmark. But I can remember almost, it feels like everybody who I went to high school with from my freshman year, all those classes, and then all the way through my senior year. And going back, and it's like, man, I wish I'd have got to know them a little bit more. Or man, I wish we would have vibed a little bit differently. Man, I'm glad I didn't make that decision. But at the same time too, there's a lot of ways to, the relationship thing is key. And that's the most important thing about school. It teaches you how to interact with people and how to better yourself to help other people, whether you're on a team, whether you're doing homework, whether you're in a group setting. So meet new people. Don't lock yourself into one dynamic, because no matter what, at this age, things are going to change. It might not all go away. You can still play sports, maybe not at that level, or you maybe go next level, but it always changes. The only thing consistent in life is change. Your grade, your classes, your friends, your circles, your demographic, your geography, like there's things always changing. Take that step now while you're in school. Encourage your kids and coaches too. Like put those kids, like, great, you got your starters over here. Split them up and put them over here with some of these guys. Make them work with the freshmen. Make them volunteer for some of the junior programs. Like there's so much more you can do. And it's also going to allow your student athlete, your family, yourself, and a little bit of legacy of that last name. Is like, oh man, he came and helped those kids out, and he's a sophomore and he's on varsity, and you get to know people around you, but then people start to seek them out, and they're able to do more for more people instead of just like, I'm here to play sports and I don't care what else is going on. Because if something does happen, something does change, you have a bad game, you just wrapped your whole identity up in that. Meet new people, be grateful, be gracious. And at the same time, I hope the coaching staffs of these have a little bit of that too. It's go time. It's Friday night light time. However, just remember that these kids are kids and they need to be pushed, held accountable. They need to be, trained hard. However, give them some grace, make it fun, and make them work outside of their comfort zone with other people they're not used to working with.
Yeah. Along with the comfort zone thing, I think this gives a lot of our student athletes the opportunity to take ownership of their schedules too. Yeah. Their schedules are changing. They have multiple responsibilities with school, with practices, with some outside trainings. And if they're involved with us coming here and doing the stuff that we do here, specifically getting adjusted is the main thing that we're telling our athletes to do. Is like, we understand they're at a time crunch sometimes. It's like, if there's one thing you're coming in here and doing, it's getting adjusted and making sure that they make time for that, see the value in it, see that now that you're in season, the stuff we've been doing all summer long, we can't stop doing that now. It's like, we're trying to be preventative here. And it's like, we're not just going to fall off the bandwagon now. So we have to keep up with all this stuff, and trying to stress that to a lot of the athletes because they're young minds. They're starting to make some of their decisions on their own. And we have a great parent student athlete relationship right now in the office, where she's even paying for some of her care, which is kind of cool. So she is valuing the services that she's and also has a say in what she's getting and in the services she's receiving and what she's doing with her body. So that's kind of cool to see that we have some parents that are even doing that, and there's some skin in the game with these student athletes now.
So I'm just going to keep going down the road of surrounding your people surrounding yourself with people who give a shit. Okay. And one thing is, you're talking about that. And as I'm thinking about it, and one thing that I wish I would have done better, I'd like to think people could look back. I might uncomfortably poll the crowd. I should probably ask some people, and I'm afraid of what they might say. However, I'm really not, because having self-reflection now, very intense, very focused, very stubborn at times, but I've always had a huge heart. And I think a lot of people will tell you that, like, man, he was a lot, but I think a lot of people would say he always showed up and I was always there. But I say that because I would go back, surrounding yourself around people who give a shit. Be the person who gives a shit about other people. And so the blinders on are fine, but going back to my freshman year, I wish I would have been more uncomfortable seeking out maybe an upperclassman to truly make a relationship with. But as an upperclassman with ego and testosterone flowing through the body and all this competitiveness, and it's like, girls and sports and, accolades and patches on my jacket. And it's like, hang on a second. I would have gone more out of my way to then go into the underclassmen world and be like, hey, you're rolling with me. Or, hey, I'm taking you to practice today, and pouring into them. So be the person who gives a shit about people. But if you're a younger classman, like, don't be afraid to, because if somebody's be like, yeah, get out of here, freshie. Like, I get it. You're going to take a couple kicks here, but persevere through that, and you'll learn real quick who you want to be around. But find those people ahead of you. And if you are the upperclassman, if you are a GA, if you are, doing an internship at a school, like, pay attention. Like, let's just get rid of they're freshmen and like scrutinizing them and the whole hazing thing. And I don't think there's a whole lot of that going on anymore. I remember I kind of stood up for myself on that, and that was quite an ordeal, and I don't regret it at all. And I don't think a whole lot of that's happening. However, let's just do the reverse and be like, you know what? Instead of hazing them, it's like, make them a little uncomfortable. Like, we're going to take all the freshmen out. Like, all you seniors, take the freshmen out, take the JV guys out. And then they're going to be so scared to be, oh man, like, I want to go. We kind of have to go, but I think this is a trap. And okay, that's the fun part. And then kick it and get to know them. And you're not going to like everybody. They're not going to like you, but it's better off. And that's one thing I could have done better and wish was done better to me. It can change the culture of not only a sport or a team, but of somebody's life. Like, you don't know what people are going through. That could be their outlet. So if you're going to be a part of a team, be a teammate. Don't be a hater. Yeah.
I mean, look at it from that perspective. I remember when I was freshman, sophomore coming in, and I was fortunate enough to play at the higher level varsity at the younger age, but I always looked up to a lot of those guys, and some of the guys that were seniors as I was coming in as a freshman, you look up to them. So, once you get to that level where you're a junior, senior, knowing that you were that person at one point, and there's someone that is looking up to you and wanting to be in the same position that you were at some point, acknowledging that, and like you're just saying, take someone under your wing and help them out, because you were in their shoes at one point, and it can be very beneficial and lucrative for the whole team and the whole organization as a whole. The other thing I really paid attention to and noticed when I was in more so the high school setting was I created a lot of great relationships with some of the teachers as well as a lot of the coaches, and a lot of the coaches were teachers at the same time. And still this day, I feel like I could reach out to a lot of them and have a great conversation. And if I needed life advice or just needed to have a conversation with one of them, they'd pick up the phone and have that with me and pick right up where we left off. So even those relationships, the adult relationships you have, can go a long way. And I encourage, if you're an adult in that position as a coach, realize that that's also something that you can create for someone. It can be a lifelong thing, or even impact them. It doesn't have to be a relationship lifelong, but whatever you have that relationship short term in high school with that student athlete, it can be a lifelong impact. So, and for me, that was the case.
Yeah. And one thing, I can speak to the parents and the athletes on this one. As an athlete, if you're an upperclassman, you're already driving and things like that, I would encourage you to be very keen of who's the last one to leave practice. Hang out. Like literally hang out in the parking lot, go through your death scroll, and make sure all of your teammates leave. I almost guarantee you there is going to be one kid on every team that is picked up last more often than not. And it might be because their parents work like my parents. I was that person, and it might kill my parents to hear that. And I do not hold it against them. But sometimes I was the one calling 1-800-COLLECT in those years, because I didn't have a cell phone at the time, to be like, "Hey, are you coming?" But I would literally hide in the middle school little walkway where there was a payphone there, so I didn't want anybody to feel bad for me or see it. But my parents were working, and I had a little brother that had to get to stuff, and my dad was a contractor and still is a contractor, and so you don't know that. Or let's just face it, there's some more unfortunate scenarios where maybe their parents don't have a car. Maybe they're relying on their self or their grandparents, and it's just like, you just don't know. Like, people will hide to not be seen because they're embarrassed. And there's going to be one on every single team. Volleyball, softball, football is all right now. Cross country, like, chances are there is one on every team. And if you give a shit about people, take them under your wing. Hey, do you need a ride? Do you need to use my phone? Do you need to? And coaches should be very aware of that. You'd be surprised how many times they would leave practice, and there was a couple of us waiting. Not that we were their responsibility in a sense, but we were. Yeah. But it was just like, "Okay, you good?" "Yeah, I'm good." And I'd act like I'm walking there, and then I duck off, and they're like, "Okay," and they're gone. Yeah. And so, but that could mean a lot to somebody, but also to you student athletes. Like, I don't think you're aware of how often that happens and what you're actually doing. And if you are being that person who is picking on the freshmen or things like that, or, kind of going through the status quo of like earning stripes and boot camp kind of things, be careful. Yeah.
I would say I was a little bit in that boat too. There were times where either practice or a game wasn't until later on in the day. Sometimes it was right after school, but I usually would just stay after school and do whatever, homework, walk around, kind of hang out by myself. And a lot of times, sometimes there was somebody else there, but and then wait, and everybody else would come back for a game, get ready, and we'd go about it. There was other times where I'd be riding my bike and it'd be like to and from school and practices and everything. Once I was able to drive, it'd be my brother and I that we'd go back and forth and do that kind of thing. But whether it was sports related or academic related or something else that was at school, there were definitely times where, I was waiting on someone to pick me up, and I was one of 5 too. So there was a lot of kids. So that explained a lot of it. And, mom and dad trying to get us from A to B and juggling all of our schedules, which looking back, they did a great job with that. So
we're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's like we experienced it. So yes, there are kids out there that they're experiencing the same thing. Not necessarily that's a bad thing, but it does feel good if someone is offering you a ride, and you can deny if you want to, but at least someone offered and is looking out for you, and that's what a team's about.
And you bring up a good point there too. So maybe you are one of those athletes, and if you're not, that's fine too. This applies to those who aren't waiting for rides. As I transition here a little bit, to say it's also okay to say, "No, I'm good." And, let's face it, there's a lot of athletes too that are into some other things and some extracurriculars and a lifestyle that maybe you don't condone, but then you fall into, well, I want to be liked. I don't want to be shoved around. I want to be cool. I want to be in. I want to be able to, and, have these relationships and upperclassmen or whatever. And it's just like, at the same time, again, don't just surround your people for the sake of surrounding people. Don't just surround yourself with people who can give you a ride because you need one. Don't fall into that trap, because there's a lot of times too where you'd rather walk. So don't put yourself in a precarious position, or just be very mindful of who you also let into your life. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of a conundrum. Here we are saying surround yourself with awesome people, but find the people who are willing to be awesome around other people and get to those people. And if they're not for you, it's okay to kind of branch off, but keep looking, keep going. It's super important. So whether you're on one side of the fence or the other, just be very cognizant and be good people. Treat people that you want to be treated. And if you're on the other side looking for those people, don't give up, and don't shy away. Don't hide around corners and look around to make sure everybody's gone before you walk back out. It's real. Trust me, it's real. And I just want to call it out, because I think I wouldn't say it's taboo, but I just don't think people are talking about it enough.
Yeah. And along those lines, we've had a couple athletes too, where some of their real good buddies at some point, they may go down a route that you don't necessarily want to go down that route, but because you're so close to them, you're like, oh, you're at a fork in the road, and you're like, okay, do I go with them? Do I follow them? Is it going to turn out okay? Do I try to get them back on the right track, kind of a thing? And know that it's okay to sometimes let go of some of those relationships, because if you're looking and you have certain goals in the future, and you're at that fork in the road, and be like, okay, here's my goal. It's over here. The guys I want to be with are going down this route. That's a tough decision to make, because yes, you want to have those relationships at that time, but if you're mature enough at the time to make the right decision, which we've seen that, and we've also seen the opposite of that, know that you'll be faced with a lot of those decisions, because not everybody's always going to be on the same path.
Yeah.
And, just kind of stick to it. You have your goals, it's like you said, surround yourself with the people that are going to help you reach those goals. And it's okay to say goodbye to some of those other ones that don't, follow that same route.
Yeah. And maybe do this, as we're sitting here talking about this. Again, this is totally impromptu, and this is just coming up off the top. And I'm gonna throw out some names. A lot of people aren't gonna know who they are unless we went to school together. But just know that this whole era of high school, junior high, high school into college, it ends quickly. Fastest 10 years of my life. And I started college at 23 after playing ball. So, but I can look back, and I would say we had one of those teams that was together since like first grade. Most of us played together. By third grade, we had all played together. We went through, we were blessed. We won state and went to regionals and had a great ending senior year of high school. And I bet, through our high school career, man, we had such a cool team looking back. And, whether it's Brian Sellers, Jason Meadows, Colin Mullally. I mean, I could go through our whole, there was 11 of us that played together, but those first few were upperclassmen. Brad Mace, Travis Pyatt, and then you get into my era of Cody Watson, Matt Cottle. I mean, I could go through our whole team, and there's a lot of us that were friends, but I think we could all go back and be like, for the team that we had, if we had any sort of culture, like if we knew, like if we all got together now, and don't get me wrong, we're still as messed up as ever and broken as ever. However, we just have more experience and wisdom. And I think if I got all of those guys back together from when we were freshmen and those seniors in 2001, I guess the 2001 class would have been seniors. I graduated in 05. If we got all of those people back together, we would probably do things a lot differently from a team and just a personal standpoint. It'd be hell with basketball and baseball. Let's just do life. Like if we do life better together, imagine what the team's going to be like. Imagine what school's going to, how fun is school going to be when you actually get along with most of the people, or you make an effort to build a relationship with a lot of those people. So I look back and it's just like, man, if Boston wasn't so intense and, wasn't trying to look like he's showing off, so he makes varsity and all this stuff. And that was and I'm aware of that now. And that's okay. It's just like, I was so worried about being involved that I just wanted to be so good that they had to take me, and then I could prove myself and everybody would like me because I had a batting average. I hit threes. I threw people out. And it was like, the idol was on the wrong focus. I was focused on all the statistics to make a relationship and be cool enough and wear the right things that they were going to like me and be a hard ass and be focused. And it was just like coming off as all of this intensity when it was more of an insecurity of like, look, I just want us all to be a part of this.
Right.
And I didn't realize that at the time because I thought I was doing everything right. If I just work harder, if I just get more focused, if I show more emotion, it's all going to be okay. And if I get mad, I'm going to get mad at myself because I let the team down. Well, that looks like you're just a prick. It's like, no, that's not the way I mean it. And there's just so much I think we all know now to where somebody would have probably grabbed me by the shoulder a little sooner and be like, dude, you've got it. Chill.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you don't have it yet. Do you want it? Dude, I want it so bad. I just know I'm not there. Then let's go work. Like those things can happen faster.
Yeah. It's interesting, the team dynamics, and that will make or break a team. And there were a couple teams that I was on that the skill was there. The talent was there. It was just a matter of putting it together. It was a matter of, the camaraderie between the team and creating those relationships over time and supporting each other during those times where it's like, yeah, you need to get here and I'm willing to get you there and help you support through it. But it's a dynamic that we could probably talk about and go a whole new podcast on, and we probably will, since from a time frame standpoint. But know that you guys are a team. And yes, you're fighting against each other for positions and those kind of things, but it's also next man up.
Hey, I'll take a time portal back to Youngstown and be your assistant captain.
Yeah, let's do it. With John Gruden as our coach.
Yeah, John Gruden.
He loves Youngstown.
More about banana than I do. I think you do. And again, like you said, we can talk about this. I mean, I love getting in the feels of all this and calling out some of the more realistic things because you just want to help faster. It's like when you pray for wisdom, pray for experience and wisdom. Don't pray for just the answers. And so it's like if any of this hits with anybody, I mean, that's a huge win. But also as parents, I was at hockey practice last night with Kenton, and I caught myself doing this last year, and I was like, whoa. I need to slow down a second. But a lot of these parents, you'll take them to practice. And hockey is pretty demanding on the parent because 6 and 8 year olds, they can't quite get their skates tied enough. You got to help them get dressed. So we're talking hockey at the moment, but this can go for any sport. You take your kids there, and then you've got to kind of help them out, get them ready, or you're waiting for them to come out of the locker room or whatever it is. And it's like, come on, we got to go. Like, come on, I haven't eaten yet. I've been at work all day. It's like,
slow down.
This is not about you.
Yeah.
This is about them and their development. This is their environment. They've also been at school all day. And, we get to work with people we enjoy. They get to go to school with people they enjoy, but then that's part of their day too. Like, don't rob them of their day. And there's times where it's like, gotta go, we're leaving for vacation. But have that conversation beforehand. But if it's a standard day, so what if it takes you an extra 15 minutes to get out of the parking lot? Like, because that can change the mood of like, oh, this is an inconvenience to my parents. Be very careful. So I kind of over volumed yesterday. I had a parent next to me as the kids came off the ice and we were in the locker room, and I had a parent next to me doing that. Like, come on, man. He's like, I've been home. I want to go home, get to work. Your mom's home. And I just kind of told Kenton, I was like, man, you did awesome today. I was like, I'm super proud of you. And he's like, yeah. And he's just sitting there. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, dude, I'm hungry. I've got to eat lunch. But I was just like, hey, I said, take your time. I was like, we got all the time in the world, brother. And it's just like giving them that portion of you as a parent. Like, they just got out of practice. They might want to sit there. They might enjoy that environment. That might be filling their cup, and then we're rushing them along. And literally, you're not just rushing them along in that moment. Like, you're rushing life. There's going to be one day it's like, man, I remember taping their socks onto their pads and putting their skates on. I remember, one day Kenton pretty soon is going to be like,
I got
Dad,
that.
I'll tie my skates. God, it makes me emotional just thinking about it. It's like, I've got cuts on the inside of my pinkies from like pulling the skates, already. Because I used to have a callus last year, and I got to re-break it. Yeah. And it's just like, man, I just want to bleed all over your skates. Like, let me do it. Don't rush past it. Like, don't make them feel uncomfortable because they're keen. And while they might not say like, oh, this is an inconvenience, they'll get real nervous, and then they'll show some disinterest. And then we're literally taking away environment, all because we wanted to get out of that locker room 5 minutes sooner to get home 3 minutes faster.
Right. Yep.
So just another thing I've recently taken on. And then when we get in the truck and talk about practice a little bit, we talked about this on before. It's like when the hat's on, cool, I get that moment, and then hats off, put it on the dash, and it's like now I'm dad, no longer coach, and no longer Mr. Input. So, anything else? What else you
Good
got?
stuff. I would have gone a whole down a rabbit hole on one of these bullet points, but we'll save that for another one. I got a lot of little tingly nibbits to go through. So,
well, at the end of the day, as we start school here, there's a lot of other things we could talk about, and injury prevention and things we do here, and we do that plenty. However, right now, like, enjoy going back to school. Like, enjoy taking your kids to school. And if they ride the bus, you know what? Take them to school their first day. You know, take a half day and pick them up. Like, spend a little time with them. Show them you're there for them. And if you're a student athlete and you're going into your freshman year, like, don't hide. Don't try to be too extravagant. Say hi to people. Here's my pro tip. Everybody in the world needs to do this, but especially you freshmen or you people transitioning to a new school, maybe you moved, is when you walk through those hallways and you walk through those doors, you do not walk around like this with your head down and just kind of hoping you're not noticed or deciding who you kind of want to talk to because they look soft and easy to talk to. Go in with a smile, give some head nods, you know, give a smirk. You know, we've all done it when we've tried catching that girl's view, you know, girl's eye a little bit. It's like, man, she's super hot. And then you're just kind of looking and you kind of smirk at her and she smirks back. And it's like, just do that to everybody. Like, everybody wants to have some sort of relationship, you know, with you, whether you're looking for a girlfriend or you're looking for a best friend. It's like having your head down, nose to the ground, and just kind of being angry or insecure or, you know, anxious. It's like, it's okay. You're not the only one. Pick your head up, smile at some people, give some high fives, sit next to somebody new and just ask them, hey, can I sit here? And just start up a conversation. You know, step out of your comfort zone, but keep your head up, look people in the eye, give a smile, have fun, enjoy. It's over before you know it. Just enjoy the school year. Cool. All right. We'll see you next time on the Pure Playbook. See ya.